assume that the main reason you're here is they want to get full practice.
Yeah, we discussed it, and just with our schedule in Jersey, we haven't practiced really since last Tuesday, Wednesday, and I've been getting some shots with a couple of the injured guys, but nothing can really simulate a full practice. So with their day off today, we discussed it, and Coach Hines brought it up to me because I've kind of been itching to get back practicing. So I figured this would be a good opportunity. So they were great. Their coach was great, letting me on, and the goalies helped me out by letting me jump in there. So couldn't have worked out better.
Are you pretty determined to get back in the net before the season ends?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, physically, I felt pretty good here for the last week to 10 days. And like I said, just the opportunity hasn't really come up to get back into practice. And I think that's the next step is getting your conditioning and your legs and your timing back. And, while skating with a couple of guys is good for certain things, it really can't simulate a practice or a game like environment. So again, like I said, I wouldn't have come up here if I didn't think I was going to be back or if it was a longer process than I'd hoped.
How's the knee feel?
Fine. Yeah, like I said, physically everything's felt good for a little while now, so it's more just getting back into the mentality.
Just with the playoff chances seem to be fading right now. Was there any discussion about the shutting you down? Or?
Not that I've had. Again, it's kind of been we played it by ear. It wasn't a major injury, fortunately, but obviously we want to be smart with it. And Scott and Keith and Jan have all done a great job. We've I think had a winning record since I've been out, so they've done a tremendous job, and I think the team's done a great job getting back to our identity. So they like I said, they didn't want to rush me back and risk further injury, but like I said, I felt great the last week or 10 days, no setbacks. So I think for me, I'd love to get back in there.
This is such a unique opportunity to come down here. You never hear of an NHL player just stopping in an AHL practice one day. Obviously it raised the energy of practice out here, but was it fun for you? I mean, it's only a couple hours, but you're back here at the AHL level for a split second. I mean, is that
yeah,
cool?
Again, when Coach brought it up to me, it seemed like a good idea. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the AHL. I spent 3 years in Manitoba, and I've played over probably about 150 games in the American League. So I'm no stranger to what this league is about and how much it helps you as a player. So I have all the time in the world for this league, and again, it was a unique idea that made sense to me and was easy to do. So again, like I said, it couldn't have been better in terms of the guys helping me out and not shooting in my head. They were pretty good about.
Knowing that you're obviously at the top club, these guys down here are doing pretty well, second in the American Hockey League. Does that make you excited at the top level, knowing that you're going to have some guys maybe someday come up who are pretty good?
Yeah, it's encouraging, and we've already seen some of those guys. We've had some real injuries at our team, and we've been drawing guys from here all season long, and they haven't seemed to miss a beat here, which is encouraging. That it seems like we have a little more depth maybe in the organization than we've had in years past. And we talked about that in training camp day one. Ray Shero, Coach Hines. We talked about being strong top to bottom, not just the NHL team or the American League team, but both organizations having players and guys being able to step in and not miss a beat. So they've done a great job here making guys learning the system and getting them ready to step up when they need to.
Cory, how close is New Jersey? Obviously, you mentioned the new management. It's under. How close are you guys, especially, I guess, given the infusion of talent you occasionally get from Albany?
Well, I feel we're close. Again, we're close right now. We're only 5 or 6 points out as we speak, and I think a lot of people didn't even expect us to be within earshot, at the trade deadline. So I think we proved a lot of people wrong. We still aren't where we want to be. We want to be in the playoffs at this time, but I think we've kind of getting that culture back that the Devils have had in the past of expectations of success and how to carry ourselves and how we want to play. So I think that's been important too, is we've taken a cultural step in the right direction, and hopefully we can get there this year and sneak in the playoffs and have a strong finish. But if not, that we've set that precedent, that building block into next season.
Most of these guys I've seen for training camps. There's no, do you feel like you fit right in because
it's like I said, we've had some guys up with us that have come back down, and guys I've played with before in my career or against. So I'm familiar with a lot of them, and some new faces or guys that you don't know too well, but it's good to see them on the ice. And like I said, it was a good practice. It was up tempo, and they practice with pace and purpose. So that's great for me. And like I said, the American League's a great league. It's a fun league where you have a lot of guys around your age, striving for similar things. So it seemed like it was a good locker room, and everyone was really welcoming.
When you talk to those guys in the locker room out on the ice, what are some of the conversations you're having with? What do they want to talk to you?
They're real good and respectful. They weren't really asking me a ton of questions. I think they just were giving me a hard time more than anything, and I think just making sure, like I said, they didn't shoot too high on me, which is fine. But I'm just there to I don't want to disrupt what they're doing. They obviously have a good thing going to the playoffs, hopefully, and I don't want to come in and be a distraction or take away from what they're doing. So I just try to keep my head down and try to accomplish what I wanted to and let them do their thing.
what were your thoughts on the way Wedgwood played when he came up?
Yeah, like I said, they've all been great, whether it's been Jan or Keith or Scott. But Scotty, he got an opportunity, and it sounded like he was playing well here, coming back from that injury. And sometimes you just carry that momentum where you're feeling good, and you step up to the next level. And it's harder, but sometimes it can seem easier. It can be a cleaner game. It can be a more predictable game with the way your teammates play in front of you. And if you're seeing the puck and feeling good, you can tell he's playing with confidence. That's great for our team because he stepped in and won a couple big games, and has given us a chance every game he's played. So hopefully he can continue that or carry that confidence going forward, and then in years to come he'll be a good option for us, or again, like I said, establish himself as an NHL player.